to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to be talking about 4 ways you can improve your self-confidence. And the inspiration behind this video is really from my own personal experience. In the last few months, I've really been struggling with feeling confident in myself, feeling confident in the decisions I'm making, feeling confident in my business, feeling confident in motherhood, feeling confident just as a person, as a woman, as a human being, I've really been struggling with insecurities lately, and I've really just been kind of not being very nice to myself for the last few months. So I decided enough is enough. And I decided I am going to change that by actively instilling new beliefs in myself, being mindful of how I talk to myself and about myself, and just working to build up my confidence in all areas of my life. So today I'm going to share the 4 ways that I have been improving my confidence. So let's get into it with number 1. So the first step of improving your confidence, or the first step I have been taking to improve my confidence, is learning to trust myself. That's number 1. And before we get into that, I actually want to read the definition of self-confidence that I really like is a feeling of trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgment. I really like that one because I do honestly believe that the root of building up your confidence and building up your opinion of yourself does start with trusting yourself. So to me, that is the first way to improve your self-confidence, is learning to trust yourself. And I feel like the first step in learning to trust yourself is forgiveness. Because when you think back on why you may have mistrust in yourself, mistrust in your decisions, why there could be internal conflict, is most likely, especially I'm speaking from personal experience, it's probably at some point in your life you made a decision that may have caused you harm, that may cause you grief or loss or sadness or anger, that you made a mistake at some point in your life. And so maybe you don't trust your judgment anymore. Maybe you don't have confidence in your decision making anymore. So there is a mistrust of self because of a past mistake. So I feel like the first step in improving your confidence is learning to trust yourself. And the first step in learning to trust yourself is forgiveness. Really take the time and reflect on the past decisions that you've made that you still hang over your head, that you still use as a reason to tell yourself you're not good enough, you can't do something. You know, that thing where it's like, maybe you have a desire to start a business or something, and you're like, you can't do that because remember back in 2002 you tried to do X, Y, and Z and it failed, and you thought it was a good idea and it didn't work. Obviously we're not good at making decisions, when in reality that's not the case. Just because you made a mistake, your mistakes do not define you as a human being, and you should not allow them to hang over you and tell you that you're not good enough and to lower your self-confidence. So for me personally, I believe the first step is learning to forgive yourself. That is how you can start to learn how to trust yourself. And another point that I have for learning to trust yourself is starting small, meaning make pinky promises to yourself. It sounds silly, but commit to something small that you have been wanting to do, and every single day, or however, show up for that thing. Keep the promises that you make to yourself, and that will help you start to build trust for yourself, and which will overall help you feel more confident in who you are and your decisions, make you feel more confident in your abilities as a person. So number two for improving your confidence, I would say, is your inner voice, your self-talk, how you are speaking to yourself and about yourself. That is, it's so important. It's so important. The way you speak to yourself affects all areas of your life, definitely affects your confidence. And for me, I have notes written down. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes. The best way to improve your inner voice, it starts with awareness. First, being aware of how you speak to yourself, and just kind of taking a moment, pausing, slowing down, and reflecting. When I speak to myself, when I'm alone, when I'm just having my own inner dialogue, is it kind? Is it compassionate? Is it understanding? Or is it more of a bully energy? I definitely think your self-talk directly affects your confidence and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your abilities and what you think you can and cannot do. Because if you're constantly telling yourself, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or I always mess up, I always make a mistake, I always whatever, if you're constantly reminding yourself of the past and who you were back then, and you don't encourage yourself to choose a different path and to behave differently and respond differently, you're not going to build your confidence. You're not going to help yourself out at all. And along with the inner voice, I have a note that, and changing your oh my goodness, there's a cat. Changing your inner voice. Another great thing to look at when you're trying to change the way you speak about yourself, I would say, is being mindful of how the people around you speak about themselves. So if you're around people who are constantly talking down on themselves, who are constantly like, I'm so stupid, I'm so this, and maybe it's not even the people that are around you currently, but maybe in your childhood, your parents, maybe your mother always said, I'm so ugly, I'm so fat, I'm so, whatever. And maybe your father was like, I'm so stupid, I'm whatever. Like, they just were speaking down on themselves. And that's what you grew up with. And that's how you saw people speak about themselves. So that's normal to you. So that may be something that you just absorbed growing up. And now that's how you talk to yourself. So that's something I also would encourage you to look into, that, do I speak to myself this way because the people around me, this is how they speak to themselves? Or is this actually how I feel about myself? Is this what I was taught I should feel about myself? Because all of that plays a role in your confidence. And that brings me into my next point, which is a mindset shift. And when I say a mindset shift, I mean, so when we're talking about confidence, right, we're talking about you feel and you trust, you believe in your ability to do whatever. Like, you feel confident. You're like, I'm going to be able to do this. I feel confident in who I am. I feel confident in how I look. I feel confident in my ability to make a decision or X, Y, Z, right? So a lot of that confidence is rooted in our beliefs, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about the world, and so forth. And so when I say mindset shift, I mean, you may have to shift your beliefs, meaning what you believe is good, what you believe is bad, what you believe is, pretty. Like, for example, let's say when you were growing up, you were told that being pretty meant, being super skinny or tall or, a certain build, like the typical Hollywood build of what pretty is. And you do not look like that, right? Maybe you have a belly, maybe you have bigger arms, maybe you have big hips, maybe your skin is darker than what you were told is pretty. So growing up, you may have that belief of like, this is what pretty is, this is what it means to be beautiful, this is what it means to be acceptable. And you look at yourself and you're like, I'm not. So obviously that's going to affect your confidence, because your belief in your mind is telling you that you do not fit into what pretty is. And that doesn't have to just apply to pretty. It can apply to smart. You know, you could have grown up thinking, I was never good at tests. I can use myself as an example for that. Like, I loved school growing up, but I was not always an A student. I had a stutter. I had to go to like special education. I had difficult time reading and writing, and I was very far behind when I was in school, and I had a learning disability. So growing up, I did not feel smart. And even now, that affects my confidence when it comes to building my business, because sometimes I'll talk down to myself, like, who are you to be running a business? Who are you to be running, a company? You're not even smart enough to do that. I will say that to myself, because as a child, I was taught and felt and believed that I was not smart because I couldn't pass tests, because I had to have a special education teacher, and because of X, Y, and Z. I have a belief that I am not smart. I am not an intelligent person. I'm not Einstein, right? So when I say mindset shift, I mean how I shift this belief that I have that I'm not smart is, well, I guess if I'm believing smart just simply means she's good at tests, she gets A's, this very boxed in view of what intelligent means, then yes, I'm not smart. But when I shift my mindset and I widen it to say, well, that's not true, because I believe there are many different forms of intelligence. And maybe I'm not intelligent in the sense that I can just do any math problem like that. I can, spell some crazy big word. Maybe that's not my form of intelligence, but I'm intelligent. I'm creatively gifted and intelligent. I'm intelligent in a sense that I have a creative business. I'm intelligent in the sense that I create these beautiful journal prompts that can help people dive deep into their trauma and wounds and help them heal themselves. That is intelligent. I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm connected to my own emotions and my own trauma, which then helps me to be empathic and help other people connect with their emotions and their trauma and heal it. That is intelligence. So no, I am not the typical version of what intelligence means and looks like, but I am intelligent. So that's what I mean by shift your mindset. Whatever you were taught to believe is good or bad or pretty or smart or ugly or whatever, it's time for you to shift those beliefs, because it doesn't serve you and it's not true. And so many of us, our minds are filled with beliefs that were just handed down to us, whether by our parents, by our siblings, by society, by whomever. And we're just running around with a belief system in our minds of what it means to be a good person, what it means to be a person that's worthy, what does it mean to be pretty, smart, wealthy, whatever. We're running around with beliefs that aren't even ours. They are the world's. They are our parents. They are our grandparents. They are generations before us. When that's what they believe, that doesn't mean that's what you have to believe. That doesn't mean that's what you have to walk around in your heart and mind with. And if anytime you have a belief that is directly opposing or pushing back on who you authentically are, you're not the problem. That belief is the problem. And it's really funny because I just had this moment today when I was getting ready and I was getting dressed, and I was just like, wow, I gotta lose some weight. I gotta Like my body is just, and then I stop myself. I'm like, my body's not the problem. My body is healthy. My body is happy. My body is beautiful, and I'm healthy. And just to be able to be healthy and mobile and to be able to have the sunshine on me right now, my body is not the problem. It's my belief. It's a belief that I need to look a certain way. It's a belief that I'm supposed to be skinny or have a flat stomach and, you know, these large breasts and large bottom. Like, that belief is the problem, not my body. I am not the problem. It's the belief of what beauty looks like. Does that make sense? So a huge way to improve your confidence is just shifting your mind, shifting your belief, and detaching from beliefs that do not serve you anymore, that are against who you authentically are and truly are, and are against your truth. So once you do that, and it's a constant thing, I constantly have to do this. I constantly have to be mindful of how I talk to myself, and I constantly have to shift my mindset. So yeah, it's a forever thing probably. But so the next step, number 4, which is probably the most obvious for improving your confidence, is stop comparing. And that probably seems very obvious, but whatever that saying is, comparison is the thief of joy or something like that. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. That is true. It's also the thief of confidence and laughter and pleasure. Because when you compare, it just doesn't feel good, you know, because first of all, it's like, I don't want to say impossible, but like, it's, if you are comparing your intelligence and someone else's, or your beauty and someone else's, like, you are different on purpose. It wasn't an accident that you are not the same as your neighbor. It wasn't an accident that you are not the same as your sibling or your parents or your grandparents. It is a divine miracle that you are different, that you stand alone, that you are unique. You were created intentionally. You were created differently, intentionally. You serve a unique divine purpose on this earth, and there's no one that compares to you. There's no one that compares to me. There's no one that compares to you. We were both created differently on purpose, and our unique differences, our flaws, our, you know, gifts, our intelligence, our beauty, our wisdom, our gems, our souls, our hearts, our minds, our bodies, we're all intentionally created on purpose to be different. To be different so that we can share our gifts, and so that we can help each other, and so that we can lean and support on each other. None of us were meant to all look, you know, the one same way, and all think the one same way, and feel the one same way. You know, we're not all supposed to be these super tall models, and or whatever it is, are supposed to be Einstein. Like, it's supposed to balance out the scales. We're all different on purpose. So the biggest thing you can do, if you don't do anything else, which I hope you do, the biggest thing you can do definitely is going to be stop comparing. Gain the awareness of where comparison is sneaking into your life, whether that's you compare your body, you compare your intelligence, you compare motherhood. I know for me, for sure, you know, you can follow all these like mommy and me pages and gentle parenting style and this parenting style, and like, you do it with the intention of like, oh, I want, you know, to learn and improve myself, but then you can find yourself comparing and being like, oh, she does this and she's better than me. And however it shows up for you, whether it's in your parenthood, whether it's in your entrepreneurship and your career and your work, if it's, you know, in your relationship and your marriage and your family dynamic, however comparison shows up to you, really sit down and reflect and be like, okay, where do I compare? Gain the awareness of where is it sneaking into my life. And then what I like to say is compliment, not compare. Meaning, when you catch yourself comparing, the best thing you can do, so you're scrolling on Instagram and you see, I'm just going to use myself as an example. You see someone who is parenting their child. And you know, I'm on one of those mommy and me pages, and I see someone how they handle their toddler having a tantrum, and I start to compare, like, oh wow, I definitely don't do that, or whatever, right? Instead of comparing, pause and compliment that woman in the video on whatever it is that you like, that you're enjoying. And it's like, wow, I really like the tone that she is using with her son. I'm gonna take that inspiration. And then what you're gonna do is compliment yourself. So I would say, I really like how when I'm with my son, I'm very, very present with him. So you compliment the person that you were initially going to compare yourself with. You give them a compliment, and then you compliment yourself. So instead of just like lifting them up and tearing yourself down, or tearing them down and lifting them up, you're going to put a coin in their jar and put a coin in your jar. So you're going to speak life into both of you. So it's an equal exchange, and it doesn't have to be one's greater than the other. It can just be, you know, you see a picture of someone who maybe lost weight recently, and they're posting online like, hey, I lost 50 pounds or whatever. Instead of comparing, be like, wow, I'm the same age as her and the same height as her, and I'm 60 pounds heavier than what she is. Stop. And you're gonna say, she looks great, she looks amazing, wow, she must have really put in some hard work. And then you're gonna give yourself a compliment, and you're gonna hug your body, and you're gonna say, I love my body, and my body looks great and amazing and beautiful. So whatever situation it is, whether it's at work and your relationship, however comparison shows up, I just encourage you to, instead of comparing, pause and compliment, not compare. All right, so that was my 4 ways of improving your confidence. I really, really hope that something sticks with you, and it really resonates with your soul. And I really hope that this video helps you and encourages you to sit back and look at how you're talking to yourself and how you treat yourself, and how you can better improve your confidence, because there's nothing wrong with you. You are exactly who you need to be. And you know, I made this video, and for the whole month of August, my entire theme is confidence, because in my personal life, I'm really, really struggling with insecurities. I'm really struggling not feeling like I'm enough, and I'm just tired of this merry-go-round of beating myself up, not treating myself kindly. And you know, I just want so much for myself. I want a life of happiness and joy and connection. And so I believe that first starts within me, that I have to first accept and love myself truly and authentically before I can ask another individual to do that, before I can expect, I don't want to say like instead of expecting someone else to make me feel confident, make me feel pretty, I have to feel that within first. No one can make me feel that way. People can compliment you and encourage you, but the real true, it truly starts within. So that's what inspired this video, is that I in my personal life am improving my confidence and improving my relationship with myself, and these are the 4 ways that I'm helping myself. So I wanted to share them with you, and I really hope they resonate with you. And that is everything for today. I hope that you really, really take something and something resonates with you. If it does in any way, or if you have any other suggestions on how to improve your confidence, please leave them down below in the comment section. I would love to have a talk about it, what you do to improve your confidence. If you do try any of these suggestions, please let me know how it works for you, and just how your experience is, and how you deal with your insecurities, and just what's going on in your world, because this is what's going on in my world. So I thought I would share, and I would love to know what's going on in your world so that we can support each other. But that is it for today. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you get some sunshine and get to see some blue skies and just get to do what makes your heart happy. Until next time, bye.